How's it going, everybody? Nexus Snook here, and today I'm reading from r/nosleep. And the story I'm reading today is a 3-parter. It's a series, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to split it up into 3 parts, one every single week. And honestly, so far, it seems to be a really good story. Honestly, I quite like it. And this is probably going to be a longer video, so just sit back, relax, and let's get into the story. It is called, Every year for the past 3 centuries, our town has been sacrificing its women to protect the world. The twins look especially beautiful tonight, don't they? My little sister asked, craning her neck to gaze at the odd stick figures twinkling in the night sky. I shuffled my feet nervously. Edidi, You know, the immortal Pollux begged his father to let him share his immortality with his brother, she added, almost accusingly, as she stood completely still, transfixed as she seemed to be by the hypnotic shimmering of the Gemini constellation. He was willing to die for his caster. You know I'll do the same for you, I said, defensively, in a heartbeat. Her hands balled up into fists beside her. But you can't, can you? I could feel the venom in her voice, the sheer unfairness of the situation ripping her usual composure to shreds. Her eyes finally broke away from the stars and came searching for mine, only to find them running away from a confrontation. The odds of you being picked are low, I mumbled half-heartedly. No, they aren't. It's our block's turn this time. There's only like 20 of us in it. I'm sure you won't get picked, I asserted with a half-confidence I didn't really feel. Not even on a surface level. She caught onto the lie quite easily, and the pitying look she gave me then broke my heart. I want to run away, she stated after a short pause. Come with me. I reluctantly shook my head. It won't work. They'll find us before we even get to the highway. You know what will happen. They'll kill us all. Mom, Dad, everyone. And why would that be such a bad thing, she spat. They had me even after knowing what was in store for me. You don't mean that, I protested. Yes, I do, she retorted, before taking a deep breath. Raghav, she whispered, her lips quivering. I'm scared. Her eyes watered. The facade of toughness she had so carefully built up finally cracked, letting the vulnerability pour out. I pulled her in for a hug and held on tightly, afraid that this might be the last chance that I had to do so. She buried her head in my chest and sobbed silently. I wanted to say something to comfort her, but the words just disintegrated in my brain, and the letters quickly slipped out of my grasp, leaving me sad and confused. I was a mess. As if to announce its own displeasure, the earth then rumbled underneath our feet, tectonic plates shifting and smashing against each other so violently little pebbles vibrated and flew up off the ground. Leaves of the Brian tree were under rustle frantically, as if its innumerable roots that reached down to the floor creaked and swayed with a quaking. Something primordial yawned and stretched its muscles beneath the bedrock, causing the 2 of us to tense up in fear. Half a minute later, the shaking tapered off, and Aditi relaxed, if only a little. You're right, she murmured. Who can ever escape that, right? My mouth opened to reply, but a loud, persistent boom cut me off. The town's mayor had rung the alarm, signaling that the festival was finally upon us. Festival. Such a jovial name for something so morbid. Let's go, big brother, my sister said diversely. Time to go save the world. Our little town sits on the middle of a valley, near the southern reaches of the lesser Himalayas. The towering snow-capped peaks that loom around us also serve as a jagged boundary with China. Normally, this would make a very strategic position, but the sheer inaccessibility of this place on both sides means that we have next to no military presence in this area, making it ideal for the sorts of fucked up rituals that are performed here on an annual basis to take place. But it is hard to say when exactly the sacrifices begin. But the consensus in our town is that it would happen sometime in the early 18th century. Legend says that an adventurer and greeting Mughal officer started digging around for minerals and precious stones that only ended up waking something ancient from its deep slumber. The festival began shortly afterwards to placate the potentially apocalyptic entity. The burbling of the creek ahead gently pulled me out of my reverie, reminding me that we had reached the rickety wooden bridge that ran across the little river, which came melting down from the slopes of the glaciers over to the north and cut our town into two halves before returning and joining the Ganges to our south. As we crossed the bridge and entered our town, I noticed people shuffling out of their homes, unwillingly making their way towards the town hall. The whispers wafted down the cold air and reached us at our ears, picking up speed as it caught sight of us. Poor thing. So young too, only 14. Wonder if she'll get picked tonight. Aditi pulled her woolen hat down to her neck, stuffed her hands in her jacket, and continued to walk silently, ignoring the sympathetic looks being shot her way. She didn't need the pity, as it only made her resent our powerlessness. The smattering of people gradually turned into a thick crowd as we neared the town hall, seeming like most of our over 3,000 populace were coming to the festival. Our town hall was an old, imposing structure with a sloping wooden roof that the falling snow slid off of and melted into the drains beneath. It used to be the house of the resident British commander, back when they still entertained foolish notions of invading China through the mountain passes here, but later turned into an office of our local municipal government, and now hides our town's darkest secrets. The front door of the building was being guarded by some men clad in bulletproof vests, wearing balaclavas and carrying Tavor rifles. People silently walked past them and took their seats in the numerous rows of wooden benches beyond. Our side of the door was a table covered with white cloth and a man sitting next to it with an open notebook in front of him. Aditi, came a muffled voice from somewhere behind us. I turned around and saw our mother push past the lumbering crowd and hurry over towards us. She pulled my sister into her arms the moment she came close enough to say, "You okay?" she asked after she pulled away, getting an imperceptible nod in return. My mom frowned. Sharp lines sprang up from her forehead like Lord Shiva's trident. "Have you registered yet?" A flash of annoyance crossed Aditi's face. "I was just going to," she replied tiredly. My mom held her hand and just leaned over the table. She was quite experienced with all this, having gambled with her life for decades. I still remember how she sobbed with relief when the doctor told her she had hit menopause, effectively taking her out of the running. "Next," the man at the table shouted. "Oh, it's you, Aditi. Glad to see you here. Please, sign here." He grinned obnoxiously at me while my sister bent over to the table. "Raghav, good to see you." I refused to respond. "So," he continued when Aditi got back up, What number will you be choosing tonight? She shrugged. Oh, come on, he whined. You have to. It's tradition. He pointed at a paper in front of him. These are the numbers still available. Go on. Pick one. How does it matter what fucking number gets me closer to my death, you asshole? She snapped. My mom squeezed her shoulders, and she sighed. Fuck. Just 91. I choose 91, okay? You happy? Had a girl, he said with a painfully artificial smile. We turned and walked into the town hall, trying hard to ignore the sad, inquisitive expressions on people's faces. The couple of rows ahead, I saw my dad standing and waving at us. I could feel a sinking feeling in my chest, as the walls seemed to close in around me, and the echoing whispers slammed into my eardrums. I hated this part, the wait before the picking, the anxiety and fear writhing around in my belly. Damn this tradition. Damn this town. Damn this world. We took our seats next to my dad, waiting in silence for the macabre spectacle to begin. I grabbed my sister's hand and squeezed it reassuringly. After what felt like an eternity, the mayor entered the room, flanked by 2 armed guards, like the ones we saw outside, and went up to the podium on the stage. All around the rooms were other armed men, looming around menacingly. I glanced back at the mayor. Sleek gray hair, sleek knee-through jacket, and a disarming smile. He looked like the typical smarmy politician. He tapped the microphone in front of him, and the next second his voice boomed through the loudspeakers and echoed around the towered room. Good evening, everyone. It's time once again for our town to come together and work for a greater cause, greater than ourselves. It's time for us to put aside our differences and other tribute for the sake of our precious earth. You know, it's written in the Gaida that... I tuned out the sound, not wanting to listen to the useless spiel that he says every year. Instead, chose to focus on the others around me. Everywhere my eyes went, I could see women of varying ages, singing with their families, with fear in their eyes, wondering whether it would be possible for it to be their year. Teenagers, working professionals, mothers, all reduced to mere sacrifices. After a while, it's only natural for one to wonder, is this world even worth saving? And now, for the picking, the mayor declared. Before a large table behind him, on the top of which sat a large rectangular glass container, the size of a small aquarium, filled with dozens of numbered chips like the ones they use in poker. Besides the container was a cage with a crow in it. The mayor opened the cage, and the crow instantly flew out and perched itself on top of the container. This is it. I watched with bated breath. Without any instruction, the crow dove and grabbed a solitary chip in its beak, flew over to the mayor's outstretched arms, who plucked the chip out gently and put the crow back inside. Well, well, he laughed. Seems we have a winner. Please don't be 91. Please don't be 91. Please don't be 91. It is 91, the mayor thundered, and my heart instantly imploded. He checked the paper in front of him and read out my sister's name. Aditi Jaswal. Over 3,000 heads turned in our direction, some exhausted, some relieved, some full of outrage at the injustice of it all, but not a single soul offered to help. I instinctively grabbed my sister's arm in a vice-like grip. No, no, no. Mom! She cried out, looking at her mother, buried her head in her hands and wept unconsolably. Dad averted his eyes. The coward. Now, Aditi, the mayor demolished from the stage. You know why we need to do this. You know What's at stake here? We all do, don't we? I saw the masked man approach us, ready to take my sister away. Raghav, help me, my sister spoke in a raspy voice. My heart thudded in my chest. What do I do? What do I do? I should have listened to her. I should have stolen my dad's car and made a break for it. At least there was a chance we might have made it. Now, I was certain to lose my sister. No. I saw a hand reach out for Aditi. I instantly swatted it aside and wrapped my arms around her protectively. You can't! I screamed savagely. You can't take her, please! Don't do this, Raghav, the mayor said. We all know this has to happen. Fuck what has to happen, I shouted. And fuck you, you can't take her. I won't let you. We don't have time for this, the gunman to my left said, and tried to pull me aside. Something snapped in me. It was like my mind had been possessed by a white-hot, irrational rage. I punched the guy in the side of his head. Then, almost as if the beast buried in the ground sensed what was happening, the earth shook with such intensity that dust and plaster rained down from the ceiling, making everyone in the hall scream in fear and began scrambling for the exit in panic. Tube lights broke free from their fixtures and hung precariously overhead as the earthquake showed no sign of letting up. A staccato of gunfire interrupted the chaos, making everyone fall to their knees. Stop, everyone! We don't need to anger the old one, the mayor yelled at his mic. The speakers somehow still work. Fine. Someone slammed into my side, sending me crashing down to the ground. I fought to free myself, but was quickly overpowered by the stronger gunman. He landed blows on my side, knocking the wind out of me, before pulling a pistol out and aiming at my head. I should just kill you now. Right here, he snarled, the exploring baklava stretching out from his mouth, exposing his fangs. God, I must be hallucinating. My little rebellion had proved to be fruitless as my sister was dragged, kicking and screaming, out of the hall, and the rumbling earth miraculously stopped almost as soon as she left. Aditi's tear-stained face was the last I ever saw of her. It would be more than half a decade before I found out what exactly happened to her. Don't kill him, my dad exclaimed as he jumped and stood beside me, his hands raised in the air. Please, spare him. Don't kill both of our children the same night. He has to pay a price, the one aiming the gun at me shouted back. There are consequences to insubordination. Take me instead. I'll offer my life in exchange for his. I groaned. Dad, no, don't. The man looked at the mayor, who nodded. A couple of moments later, my father was taken to the stage and executed in front of the whole town. The booming gunshot faded with time, but my mother's heart-wrenching screams never did, leaving a permanent scar on my soul. That was a pretty intense story, if I do say so myself. If you guys do enjoy this kind of style of me, soft-spoken, almost kind of ASMR-like, I guess, then, give this video a like, and if you guys want more, part 2 will be out next week, so watch out for that. Thank you guys for watching. Next is Snook, signing off.